Tired, but I'm good. How about you?
Yes.
Good evening, good evening. It is Tuesday, July 19th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined by three of my partners in crime. We got J3 in the building. What's going on, J3? How you living?
Yay, man. Back from Jamaica, man. And just had a great old time, man. What's up, y'all?
Man,
What's
I'm a
up,
little
Jay?
jealous, I gotta admit, boy. We got Ed in the building. How you doing, brother?
I feel great. Particularly, my head feels great. We had some technical difficulties. We worked them out. Glad to see everybody. Let's do this.
And last but definitely not least, my other brother, the professor, is in the building. How you feeling, Professor?
Bless you, brothers. I'm feeling good. Glad to be alive. You see, I got my All-Star Nationals cap on, representing Juan Soto, the
Yeah,
home
yeah.
run champ for 2022. Let's get it, y'all. Praise the Lord.
Nice.
Yes, sir. We're going to get into that in a little bit. As a matter of fact, we're going to give you some quick hits. We got to continue talking about golf news. Who would have thought this time last year that one of the biggest stories in sports would be golf news, and we would talk about it all summer long. But it just doesn't stop, so we got to give you some of that golf news.
It just gets better and better.
We got to talk about the Major League Baseball. It's All-Star, I guess, 3 days. Last night was the Home Run Derby, and tonight's the actual All-Star game, so we're going to talk about that. And unfortunately, we got to talk about the bad part about it, the Juan Soto, Washington Nationals news, so we're going to dig into that. And then, do you realize we are 7.5 weeks away
Wow.
from the kickoff of the 2022 NFL season?
Already.
So we're going to start our NFL division previews this week. And depending on time, Professor might bless us with some takes. I know he had some for last week, so we're going to see if we can get those in and get you our final post of the evening. As always, we appreciate you tuning in, so please sit back, relax, enjoy Post on the Positional Talk Show channel. So, fellas, there was some interesting news in the NFL, and a lot of people missed something that happened last week.
Me being one of them.
The Houston Texans settled 30 cases that have to do with the Deshaun Watson sexual assault, sexual misconduct situations. Now, it was not surprising that the Texans settled it, because we all said as soon as the lawyer said he was going to bring the Texans in, we said NFL ain't going to have that. They ain't going to be deposing anybody at upper management in the NFL. But the tricky thing was the 30.
That's the part I missed.
There was only 24 people that filed cases against Deshaun Watson.
Again, it's all about the money. I'm telling you, they're trying to clean this up as soon as they can because they want to see Deshaun Watson on the football field. Y'all can say what y'all want, but they want to see him in that orange and brown or orange, white, and brown to play. Exactly.
Well, to be clear, J3, who are you referring to? Are you talking about the fans want to see him? The NFL wants to see him? Who are you referring to on that?
I'm referring to the fan, not the fans really, but the ownership in NFL. Because he draws attention. You know, we all know when he's on the field, he's going to be electrifying. And by him having a team that has some nice pieces on offense, they're looking to build that franchise up, and that's the reason why they brought him in.
I'm going to push back, or not push back. I'm going to take a little different spin on that. I will agree. There's no question that the Cleveland Browns, the orange and white or whatever color they are out here,
They're gonna have Steelers hate coming up.
That's it. I have no question that the Cleveland fan base wants him. In fact, they've been rallying around Deshaun now. I mean, it's just that dog pound. You know, it's these historical franchises, whether it be college or NFL, you know, they get behind these teams and they just lose all sense of sensibility, so to speak. So, I think the fan base, you're right, they do want to see him, and they're coming to his defense. They're saying, you know, all this they're putting all this information out there. Some of it is correct. A lot of it, in my opinion, is wrong. But I don't think the NFL is necessarily eager to see Deshaun because I think every stadium, every field that he walks on, every stadium that he enters, I think the number one question is going to be, regardless of whether or not these cases disappear or not, because at this rate, they're not going anywhere. I think the NFL will cringe every time a microphone is put in front of Deshaun's face. If Cleveland even allows access to him, I don't think they could protect him for the entire season. I just think that the NFL would prefer him go away for this year. Minimum, if not the whole year, minimum 12 games, I would predict, or I would say would be appropriate. But they just have to let this storyline die. I mean, they just have to let this mess die down and get settled. And that's why it's no coincidence that camps are opening up. Next week, I think everyone should be back in camp by next week or shortly thereafter. And I just think that the NFL already got into Houston's ear and said, fix it. And
exactly. So they're telling you to fix it because they want it to go away so that they can go ahead with the NFL season and they want to see Deshaun on the field. I'm just telling you.
What
Go ahead.
bothers me about this whole thing is that the ownership group or single owner of the Houston Texans, what is the punishment for the person that should go down with his ship? I don't want to hear about you settling cases. I want to hear about what punishment you'll have, because Deshaun wasn't alone in this. We clearly see that because they aided and abetted everything that he was doing. Now that we know that that's clear, what really is going to be done, and this is a rhetorical question because we know, what is really going to be done with this franchise? Pretty much next to nothing, but yet the player will get punished, and he probably won't get as much time as we think that he should. Why? Because the double standard still exists that he can play. You know, if he was on the back end of his career, they would Ray Rice him and he would be done. But the fact of the matter is he still has a lot left in the tank. You got a franchise that's trying to get out the doldrums of their division. They saw what Cincinnati was able to do. Now they want to try their luck and see what this man can do on their team. And it's just not, it's going to go away. We already know that. Look at the many other cases that just got swept under the rug. But the problem is Robert Kraft, the Texans, all these types of things, they can make some of the same egregious errors as the players. And what, you give them a few $100,000 fine and they worth billions of dollars? I mean, what is that really going to do? It doesn't change the culture, and it just proves that NFL is king.
Yeah, but hold on, Professor. You said a lot. You said a lot in that your comments just now. But we have to understand we're working with the employee and employer dynamic of this, meaning that the Texans employed Deshaun, meaning that the Texans hold more power than Deshaun. And so I read Amy Adams, the owner of the Texans, press release following the case, the settlements, and she basically, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm trying to recall exactly what she said, but she basically said we didn't know what our former franchise player was up to.
Yeah.
In a sense, that's what she was saying.
Get out of
Even though we were renting hotel rooms, providing massage tables,
Right.
and giving NDAs.
But another thing, Professor, we have to look at this realistically, and we can never forget that the system, whether it be the NFL, whether it be where we live, where we work, wherever, it's never going to be equal. It's never going to be fair.
Nope.
And also, the NFL doesn't employ Amy Adams. Amy Adams employs everyone in that NFL office in New York.
Yeah.
So that dynamic exists. So it's not going to be fair, whether whatever. But again, let's not lose sight of there is people out there that have made these allegations and accusations against Deshaun. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Get the broom out.
Yeah, my whole point is two things. One, they're saying that the former judge who's arbitrating the case between the NFL and NFL Players Association hasn't given her ruling because she's still trying to give time for the two organizations to get together and try to come to an agreement on the suspension. I also heard rumors that the Players Association is planning on suing the NFL if he's given a 1 year full suspension, because they can't go to the normal process, because the normal process, which is agreed upon process, is that it would go to Roger Goodell for a final decision. So that ain't gonna work out. So it'll be interesting.
Going around and around and around. That's all they do.
I heard,
Go ahead.
I heard that they would get a federal judge to place an injunction or a stay on whatever ruling that came down, a la what Tom Brady did. It'll push it so he can actually play while they're trying to, deal with all the mess that comes with this case. So there is another avenue that he could seek in order to still get on the football field this year, no matter what the length of the suspension is.
Yeah, that would just be delaying the inevitable. He's going to have to pay a price, so it's just a matter of when you're going to pay it. So
Maybe he will. Maybe he won't.
we'll see. All right, let's move on to some quick NBA news. There was two main things of note for last week. Center DeAndre Ayton, after being basically left out of the last half of the Western Conference semifinals and seemed to be disgruntled, signed an offer sheet with the Indiana Pacers for a four-year, $133 million max contract. And within 2 hours, Phoenix matched it. So
So the question is, are they going to retain him, or is he going to take the max deal and go to Indiana?
no, he can't.
He can't, no.
Once Phoenix, because he was
A restricted.
restricted free agent, they had the ability to match the offer. So that's why it was just an offer sheet. So once Phoenix matched, it's done. And he made sure that was written. The NBA rules say that once he signs this new max contract, he can't be traded till after January 15th.
Right.
But he had added into that for the full first year of his contract, he has basically a veto clause on any trades. So it's almost like he got a 1 year no trade clause. If they try to trade him, he's got to agree to it. So it looks like Ayton is going to be with Phoenix at least for a year. And it's interesting. It's interesting the way Phoenix did it. Phoenix told him to go out to the market and find out what the market would bear. He found out what the market would bear, and they matched it.
I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
look,
you know what?
y'all got quiet on me when I said last week that I think Russ is staying put, and I think Durant and Little Man staying put in Brooklyn, because I don't think nobody wants him.
I heard on the radio that they were trying to bring Durant here to the Wizards. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, the
Oh,
issue
you
is
lying?
the Nets.
I ain't talking.
No,
Yeah, I heard
no,
that too.
no, serious up.
What?
I heard it on the radio.
You
Yeah,
serious?
Yes.
But the issue is the Nets don't have anybody that they want from the Wizards. And Bradley Beal just signed his new max contract, so he can't be
Right.
traded.
You know what kills me about this whole Ayton situation is Phoenix actually did it the right way. They were like, you know what, we like you, but let's see, let's just go date, go see what's out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's go see what's out there before I make a commitment.
Go
to
shop yourself.
So then he found a suitor. He found a suitor,
Yeah.
and they immediately matched it. And then what follows is just like what happened in Portland with Lillard, with the Wizards and Bill, with Levine. The list goes on. They get these contracts, and all of a sudden, oh, this is where I always wanted to be, and we always wanted DeAndre.
It's all about the money, bro.
It kills me, but I think out of all these people that got max contracts, I think that Phoenix actually did it the right way. That's how you should do it. Don't just give these kids, I could say kids, don't just give these kids or young men this money
Players.
just for GP, a la Zion Williamson. Let them test that market. Let them see what they're worth, and then make a decision, a business decision, not an emotional decision, a business decision. Say, is this the best thing for our franchise moving forward to have this player in place?
Well, you do realize Zion is a marquee player, so they were gonna save him because they want to ensure that they continue building a team around him.
I'm not talking about Zion sitting on the bench in suits. I'm talking about Zion
Right.
actually in some gym shorts playing basketball.
Understand?
Yeah, I was about to
understand?
ask J3, do we consider him a marquee player? I don't think he's ever reached that status.
He got that Duke push.
Oh,
He's
Okay,
he's box office.
okay.
The games he did play, he was definitely
When
box
he
office.
on the floor, you know he on the floor.
The issue is getting him on the floor.
He hasn't won anything. He not
Not
marquee
yet.
to me.
Not
But he
yet.
gotta stay healthy.
Okay.
He gotta stay healthy.
The more interesting story is how James Harden is handling his free agency.
He's like, what?
Now remember, James Harden turned down his $47.3 million player option
Wow.
and went to his boy, Daryl Morey, who's now the president of the 76ers, who was the GM when he was with Houston, and basically told Daryl, look, I want to win. You're saying we need some more help for the bench. I can see it. Joel Embiid specifically said we need a player like X. So you go out, build a team, and then whatever's left over, I'll sign for that.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that he's been in the league long enough to know that he's not gonna go down as a great until he wins a championship. That's what that sounds like to me. What do y'all think?
My thinking is, I think he's on that powder.
What?
There's no way I'm turning down $47 million with a handshake and a wink wink. Hell no. Heck no. There's no way. Dude, he already had 47 coming in guaranteed. Look, I would have played out the year at 47. And then and because at worst they said, well, we're going to buy you out. Okay, well, you're going to buy me out at 47. Now, I'm not giving you no half buyouts.
Dude.
So then he can go back into the free agency next year, and someone to give him what he's probably going to end up with this year.
But-
He's crazy.
Did you hear what I just said?
What did you
He
say?
wants to win a championship.
Man, bump that.
And
Okay.
I think the difference
Okay.
is he's already made contract value $250 million plus dollars.
Okay.
His shoe contract with Adidas is worth $225 million.
That's $500 million.
And he's looking at his legacy, and it's like
Only thing I'm missing.
that $12 to $15 million pay cut that I'm going to take is not going to change my life. I'm not even going to recognize it.
He's not going to get if that was the case as far as the what he's going to actually end up getting. But do you think he's only going to get a $12 to $10 million pay cut?
Yeah, he's going to get 30. He's going to get somewhere between 30 and 35 435,
Yeah.
somewhere in that range is where it's
It
gonna
ain't
fall.
about the money.
Okay,
I'm
well
trying
then-
to tell you.
okay.
It ain't about the money.
Okay.
He want a ring.
Okay, J3. Well,
He won a ring.
Okay, well if that's the case, and Big Reg, you jumped on that too. Then if that's the case, then he needs to get traded from Philly because Philly's not winning the ring.
Now that's a whole nother subject.
All right.
Hey, check this though. Rumor on the street is Harden
the
gonna
street.
get himself in phenomenal shape, and he gonna come back with a vengeance to help Embiid finish the deal.
Okay,
But
that
I know
might happen.
I know you don't have faith in Doc either. But
Oh my god.
I mean,
Okay. Well, let's just take an impromptu poll right here. We got four people that love sports. Is Philly going to win a championship in the next 5 years?
No,
There you go.
Hell no.
There you go. That's my point. That's my point.
But if he gets a player or two,
contract. That was
right? But if he gets a player or two, that might help them. I mean, because that's what they really missing.
Well, he can't get Durant because they obviously they don't have a relationship.
He can't leave Philly, man.
There you go.
He pushed his way out of Houston,
There you go. 8 is what.
and then pushed his way out of Brooklyn.
Yeah,
He can't run again.
yeah.
So,
Okay, we'll see.
all right. And last, we ran a little long on this, but some good stuff. I just gotta make a quick. This is a public service announcement. Golden Boy,
Oh God.
y'all gotta stop. Over the weekend, their new number one cash cow, Mr. Ryan Garcia, after Canelo left Golden Boy, was put in a match over the hill, overmatched. Yeah, he was former champion, but that was some years ago. Javier Fortuna. And come on now, you cannot have these as your premier bout on cards that people have to spend money to get. And Golden Boy's been doing this for years, so I mean, they need to stop. And they wonder why boxing has slid back as far as their fan base, the draw and all that. You got to give the people the fights they want. And even the fighters are now saying, give me the fights I want. And for Ryan Garcia to say, yeah, I want to fight Tank Davis and all that, but he got to fight me at 140, stop it. That means you don't really want to fight him. You was at 135 6 months ago. Now you going to say you can only stop it. So, yeah, boxing, and y'all know that's my first love in sports. It's getting ruined by people like Golden Boy Promotions and the old guard. Let these guys fight each other. They want to fight each other. And guess what? You can have a loss,
And still,
win your title again. Everybody makes money, have trilogy fights,
We've seen it in the past.
and do it. Stop it. So, all right, fellas, let's talk about this golf stuff. First and foremost, we got to give a shout out and hats off to Cameron Smith. That young man outdueled the fan favorite, the local favorite, the British Scottish hero, Roy McIlroy, overcoming a 4-shot deficit on Sunday to win the 150th Open Championship. So, what y'all think about the winner in the final round?
Well, first of all, I loved every minute of it because Roy was talking too much. He was one of those people that was condemning the LIV golfers. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but he was condemning the LIV golfers and putting his name, putting everybody's name in the news. And for a minute, it looked like he was going to walk off like the double whammy, the triumph. He was leading going into the. I think he was tied for the lead going into the final round, and he couldn't close the deal. So he hasn't won in I think 8 years. I think it was like 8 years, a major.
Major, right?
And so I was glad he failed. I loved every minute.
tell us how you really feel.
I just did.
You have any thoughts on the matter, Professor?
Well, I mean, it's good to see a Aussie get the top joint, but the biggest story was who said that he would be coming over to join Live Golf. So Ed, yeah, he would get the head, but to me that was the biggest story. Well, not bigger than Tiger walking off. I mean, I
Thank
think
you.
the ovation that he got, the emotion of it all, because let's face it, brothers, we won't see him compete, there on that level ever again. And it's sort of like our talk about Serena. it might just be time that their best days are behind them. But hats off to Cameron Smith for doing, shooting a 64. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
that's just amazing. I mean, you got to give him kudos for it. And the way he handled himself, even in the midst of knowing, McElroy was breathing down his neck and all that kind of stuff. He held his poise and got the victory.
Yeah, the Tiger tribute down the 18th fairway to the 18th green was a beautiful sight, and to see him actually get emotional and tear up, and he had to pull his hat down because he realized, and he even said in his post match, Tiger of course didn't make the cut, that he said that he realized that this is going to probably be his last time to play the Open, especially at St. Andrews, because the next time it'll be there be 8 years, and he didn't think he would physically be able to play 8 years from now. So that tells you where his thinking is.
Right.
He says he's going to play a couple more Opens and still wants to play, but he realized his body just can't hold up anymore. So, yeah, let's talk about this LIV versus the PGA DPA World Tour, because, yeah, some news came out. It seems like the LIV Tour was just waiting for the final majors to happen so that they can continue to pinch some players.
Yeah, they dirty, man.
The rumor, I mean, not only are they going off after players, they going after one of the voices of golf. I mean, David Feherty is one of the big names in golf, and he is leaving NBC and the Golf Channel to join LIV.
Tell me if it
there
ain't
you
about
go,
the money.
J3.
Tell me it ain't about the money. Come on, man. It ain't about loyalty. It's about the dollar. Plain and simple.
But
Man, that
this
oil money.
it's the most fascinating thing. It's like we always used to wonder, like, how in the world can another startup league exist? Whether it be spring football for the NFL, whether it would be like maybe a winter ball, out in America, except out in the islands or South America for baseball. We always wondered how what would it take to compete. Back in the day, it was the ABA and the NBA. They actually did a merger, but we always wondered. But it was clear. It was like right before our face. It was like it takes money, but historically that meant network money. That meant networks. If you didn't have the big three, or now in modern times the ESPNs, or what a plethora of other networks. Now the Saudis just showed you that, well, we don't care about networks. We have the internet. Everyone has a cell phone mostly, or a laptop or iPad, etc. We will finance it. It's basically our allowance, so it's not like it's going to cost us any money, and it's fascinating, and it's actually fresh. I actually I love it. Besides just poaching players, like you now mentioned, Big Reg. Now they're going after the voice, so they're even more so legitimizing the league and bringing a familiarity for people that actually tuning in to watch these on their cell phones, or whatever streaming option they choose, but. I love this, man. I really do. And plus, the arrogance of the PGA was just time to break that monopoly up.
It's ingenious because if you think about it, everybody's cutting the cord, especially the young folks. So who is a greater target audience now that you're increasing golf programs in different schools, including HBCUs, and then you'll have a whole plethora of amateur players who are coming up that turn pro. What league you think they're going to look at first now? They're going to look at the league where they're going to where they're going to get paid. You don't have to worry about, like you say, that network money, because now we're live streaming, we're doing things on the go, and now you start to see a shift. So that's why this is a referendum on the PGA, and I think what they do next is going to tell a lot about their future of this rivalry between the two.
Yeah, I can see this leading to a merger down the road, but it'll be the PGA asking the LIV Tour to take them in. Because not only, I mentioned one of the voices, they're talking to Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I heard about that.
You know Charles Barkley, that's his big love, golf.
Yeah.
So he can come in and just do a few matches and give his kind of thing.
That's his gambling money.
Kobe. Watch Kobe. Watch Kobe.
But the craziest thing, the European Ryder Cup captain right now is Henrik Stenson. Rumor is that he was in negotiations with LIV and was just waiting until the Open was finished. And the DP World Tour, which is the new name of the European Tour, their executives threatened him through the media and then called him for a meeting yesterday to basically tell him, if you decide to go to LIV, we're going to take your captaincy and you'll never be able to play for the European Tour and the Ryder Cups. So it's going to be interesting to see how much pressure things like the Ryder Cup
Forcing his hand.
and the major championships, because if they continue to grabbing a lot of these top players, the major's going to have to relent and say, if you qualify, you get in. We don't care which tour you're in.
See, that's the issue too. The next target, if these majors are not careful, they'll be next on the hit list.
Yeah, we'll do our own majors.
We'll do our own majors, and so now you're talking about the Masters. Like you could talk all these other majors. You can even talk the oldest one which is the Open that just got completed. But the Masters, they do things like the Kumulati. I mean, they're so secretive and powerful. It's ridiculous. They're more powerful than PGA Tour itself.
Because they had that monopoly.
But
they had it for so long.
But if these majors are not, if they constantly insist that, because really that's the only thing the PGA has over their head. When Tiger started spitting last week or a couple weeks ago about these players and their loyalty, and they're not going to be able to compete for these major championships potentially, that's the last hope, and that's the last carrot, so to speak, that is actually on the table. But what if the LIV says, you know what, we could, just like we created a tour, we could create a championship, and it'd be so much money involved that alone will make it prestigious.
Yeah. Right now, the end of the year PGA Tour Championship, I think the winner gets like $20 million, something like that. What if they do 4 majors of their own, where the winner takes $15 to $20 million?
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna play on that one instead. So yeah. All right, let's jump off to the MLB, since it is All-Star. I guess Monday and Tuesday. Last night, Washington Nationals own Juan Soto put on a show, winning the 2022 Home Run Derby. And I think he learned from last year, because Soto put on a display last year, and I remember him beating Shohei Ohtani in the second round, but he gassed himself out and didn't have anything left after that. Right. So he hit enough home runs to continue to move on to the next round. He ain't try to kill himself. And I think that's what allowed him to win the Home Run Derby. But
and
we
that's
also
what
got
hurt Rodriguez, because he knew he needed to hit, because he had Pete Alonso coming up, the two-time defending champ, and he was going for 3. So he knew he had to put up a monster number in order to do it, because clearly he was gassed against Soto.
Yeah. And we got to give Julio Rodriguez, as they call him, J-Rod. This kid is a 21-year-old rookie. Mm-hmm. They were even concerned because Seattle has been known to play tricks with their rookies and keep them down in the minors till late in the season and call them up so they can control them for an extra year. Mm-hmm. But they brought him along. He made the All-Star team. This 21-year-old hit 32 home runs the first round to win. Hit 31 home runs to beat Alonso, the two-time defending champion. And then hit 18 in the finals on a shortened clock, because the finals is a minute shorter. 81 home runs, first time in the Home Run Derby. He put on the show, but again, he got a little gassed out, and Juan Soto said, 19, yeah, I can do that.
And look, And look, he had the best pitcher because dude he was consistently putting it in the same range over the plate so he could just smack him. I mean, it was crazy. He had an awkward motion, but he was literally putting it in the same spot. They were commentating on it. That allowed him to be able to smack it every day.
Yeah. What's crazy is Soto won $1 million for winning it. The Major League Baseball has really come around to make sure that they can get some people to compete. The winner takes home $1 million. The runner-up, which was J-Rod, took home $750,000. That's $50,000 more than what he's going to make on his contract this year, which is only $700,000.
Wow.
So that control that they have over for getting the people that from the minor leagues to the major leagues for 4 years, for a professional athlete, they make pennies. Just like Professor was saying, the two-time defending champion, who is in his third year, Pete Alonso, has made more money in a home run derby than he's made on his Major League Baseball contract.
That's
Wow. Picture that.
So, now, keeping with the Nationals, they did something real dirty last week. They leaked the fact that their all-star and now home run derby champ Juan Soto had declined not one, but 2 contracts, which is totally out of line. Now, let's get into these contracts. We already heard about the contract that they offered him before the beginning of the season, which was a 13-year, $350 million contract. Now, I know a lot of y'all say, $350 million? How can you turn away from $350 million? That's an average of $26.92 million per year. That would have made him like the 20th highest paid player in the Major League Baseball this season, and he's locked into that number for 13 more years, so it even get worse. Why would you sign that contract when you're one of the best young players in the Major League Baseball? So then they leaked Juan Soto turned down $440 million.
Ooh.
We sweetened it by $90 million. Yeah, but they added 2 years to the contract. So now it's 15 years, 440. So yeah, it increased up to 29.33, but that still would have made him the 15th highest paid player in the Major League Baseball this year.
And as a 23-year-old, by the time this contract would have been theoretically up, he'd have been shot. He'd have been 38 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
And stuck with an organization that is rumored to be for sale. The owners have historically not paid to keep their top talent. We also what happened to Bryce Harper. We also what happened to Matt Scherzer. So why would you want to lock yourself into it? They win a championship, and instead of spending money, they cut the payroll. So please ease up on Juan Soto about why he could do this.
I
And
was
just
about to
to
say, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I'm finished to let y'all go. Just to put this in relative terms, the highest paid non-pitcher in the Major League Baseball is still Mike Trout. And he signed his deal 3 years ago. And his deal was 12 years, $426 million. An average of 35.54. So they were actually asking Soto to sign a deal for $6.2 million per year less than Mike Trout's deal signed 3 years ago. For a longer term.
Yeah. And Soto has something that Trout will never have.
I need this ownership group to make up their mind and go ahead and sell the team, because I know that people won't hold their feet to the fire because they won a championship despite doing the same thing to Bryce Harper and sending him on his way. But now you're doing it to another young phenom that is potentially going to go to another team because you done soured the taste in his mouth by how you're treating him. And now the Nats won't have much of anything left once he walks out the door. Steven Strasburg will probably never, ever be the same again. I mean, after his World Series run, he got shot again right after that. So I don't know if he'll ever return to form. Scherzer walked out the door because they thought he was done. The last I checked, he's still doing pretty good. And now you have a team that I love, but maybe in the doldrums yet again for 10 years before they actually do anything. Because if this ownership group has anything, and I don't like Mike Rizzo, I always thought he was kind of like dirty the way he did his players and managers. So I really would like to see a new ownership group come in, take this team and kind of clean house. But I love Juan Soto, and just sad to see that he's getting done so dirty.
And don't forget, they let Trey Turner walk.
Yeah.
All they
Yeah.
did was go to LA, win a ring.
Yep, won a World Series. Yep. Yep.
I think this will not be resolved because I do think the team will be sold. That's just the way I see it shaking out. The learners, it's time to move on. And look, Scott Boras represents Soto. He's probably the agent in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not even close. And it's the writing's on the wall. He's not going to be in DC past next year's All-Star game. I would be shocked if he's in DC at that point in time. And people get so caught up, like you said, Big Reg, on the number. Yeah, that would have total number that would have eclipsed Mike Trout's 420 some, and some change, whatever. But again, it's average, and plus, regardless if he turned that down and accepts something shorter, he's going to be paid, and there's no need to lock yourself into an uncertain ownership group. And again, like you mentioned, Professor, the Nats, they've been up, down. Even when they won the World Series, that was a surprise to everyone. And if anyone says otherwise, they're lying.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, sad to see Soto, but he at least got a chip.
Yeah. Well, tonight you have the All-Star game starting at 8 p.m., so that's about 20 minutes away. What's nice, I like that they are going to let the Dodgers' own Clayton Kershaw be one of the starting pitchers along with Tampa Bay Rays' Shane McClanahan. It's being held at Dodger Stadium, so that's a good way to end it. Quite frankly, the All-Star game hadn't been very good in a while, so... But it's a display. And then for this year, if they're tied at the end of the ninth inning, instead of that junky thing of putting runners on second base, they're going to end it with a 3-player, 3-swing home run derby to end the All-Star game.
That'd be awesome.
Something worth watching.
So at least they trying.
Yeah.
At least they trying. You gonna watch the All-Star game, Professor?
You know it.
I hear that. Well, you can give us a recap next week if it's anything worth talking about.
Gotcha.
All right, let's talk about these NFL divisions. We're gonna start our first division. We're gonna start with one of the weaker divisions, the AFC South division.
It may be weak, Big Reg, but it has storylines galore.
Oh yes, it does. Yes, it does. We got to start off with the 2-time defending champs, who won the last 2 AFC South crowns, Tennessee Titans.
Why you get me started, Professor?
Tannehill.
You
Come
got
on,
your
man.
boy Tannehill. He got 2 years left on his 4-year deal. You got Derrick Henry coming back, fully healthy. If you watch any of his workout videos, he does some crazy, amazing stuff on video that I wouldn't suggest any normal human attempt because you might hurt yourself. But they did lose both of their starting wide receivers. But they drafted Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, who's basically an A.J. Brown clone. Come on. What you got?
I did my research,
Okay.
and Treylon Burks, he apparently has asthma, and he has some problems as far as adjusting to the speed, and he wasn't able to complete his workouts, and then he basically disappeared for the remainder of mandatory minicamp. So they're very concerned down in Tennessee as far as Treylon Burks is concerned. So we'll see what happens, but we have Tannehill. I'm sorry, Big Reg.
No, go ahead.
So basically, we have Tannehill, who has regressed the last 2 years with the best running back some would say the best offensive weapon in the NFL. He has regressed the last 2 years. He's lost one of the bright young receivers in the NFL to the Philadelphia Eagles, A.J. Brown. Again, his number one receiver was supposed to be Treylon Burks. Now, Robert Woods, who's coming off an injury, they did get him from the L.A. Rams, but he didn't even finish the season last year. So we'll see what happens, but
Man, you better feed Henry the ball and stop playing.
I don't see it. But the Tennessee has some issues. They have issues at the right tackle ever since they lost. I believe his name was Conklin. He went up to the Browns, the right tackle. They have been trying to solve that problem, and they're still dealing with some. They lost their starting left guard, Roger Saffold. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
They
They do have the best head coach, in my opinion, in that division.
Yeah. And they did try to address the tackle. They drafted Nicholas Petey Ferrer from Ohio State in the 3rd round. And for you, Ed, they drafted the quarterback of the future, Mr. Malik Willis out of Liberty, who had a lot of people had going in the 1st round. They got him in the 3rd round. And Hassan Haskins from Michigan, a running back, plus a tight end from Maryland. So they tried to help a little bit. But if Treylon Burks can't play or has a problem with his asthma, that's going to put too much pressure on King Henry. So
Yeah, but they got the other running back. What's the name? Forum?
No, he went to Carolina.
He went to Carolina because Henry was coming back.
So they don't even. They're still trying to solve their number
That's
2
terrible.
running back. They
That's
don't even know
terrible.
who it's going to be.
He should have stayed. He should have stayed.
Nah, he went.
I don't think so.
He want to play.
Yeah,
He got a better shot of playing in Carolina because we know when we ain't talking about Carolina Day, but we know what happens with their running backs. They don't last long. King Henry tends to be a little more durable than most. So.
Yeah,
King
they
Henry get
had the
tired,
best
too, though.
draft. They got the
Yeah.
best coach. I think they're going to – I know I like Matty Ice, but I just think that Tennessee is still going to really put a stranglehold on that division.
We will see. Their defense is going to have to play a lot better because I don't think their offense is going to have some issues this year.
He mentioned Mighty Ash, but that's the Colts.
Right. We're going to move to them.
Yeah.
A lot of people are picking the Colts as the trendy pick to win this division. And their big thing is the Colts, they traded actually for 2 quarterbacks. Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons, but they also got Nick Foles as his
Same
primary
Nick.
backup. Just in case Ryan, that 38 jumps on his back. They got old Nick, in case of emergency, break glass.
Man, hand the ball
Yeah,
off to
Nick
Taylor
ain't
and let
gonna
him
play.
do his thing. That's all they
Nick
need to do is
ain't
hand the
gonna
ball to Taylor. Let Taylor get his work in.
Well, the Colts have
Come on,
a
J3. You act like
Look-
Ryan can't throw the ball.
So
I didn't say that.
I
didn't say that.
I actually think the Colts is probably will probably finish 3rd in this division.
Ah.
Damn.
But
Nah,
they
I
do
got
have the
second.
they do have the running back. They do have the 90% of their offensive 80% of their offensive line is set. They still haven't they still have questions at that left tackle position. Matty Ice, we don't know exactly what he has left. Heck, we don't even know what Nick Foles has left. And their number 1 receiver is Pittman Jr. And is he really ready? Is he a number 1 receiver?
Don't put him on your draft team. I tell you
Now
that.
they did. Now their defense.
Don't get Professor started.
Now,
That's one
now,
of his
their,
boys.
now their defense is set. Their defense is set. Led by Buckner, the D tackle, and Darius Leonard. And they did pick up Stephon Gilmore for So we'll
get that
see.
back in, yeah.
So we'll see what happens with the Colts. But
So
I just-
exactly
they're-
why is Pickens not is not a good shot in your choice?
the who?
Why is Pickens not going to pan out? I want to hear that
Pickens?
logic there. Yeah.
No, he said Pittman.
Pittman,
Oh, you
Michael
said
Pittman
receiver.
Jr.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's this is good. He's in his 3rd year, and I haven't now. To his defense, no one's going to look good with Carson Wentz. I'm so glad. McLaurin got that money before he actually took passes from him. So we shall see. One thing it is, I mean, Taylor is probably not probably. He's probably the second best running back in the NFL. Just happens to be the second best in his own division after Henry. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But if their wide receiver group comes along, then I have a right to reverse my course and say that they should win the division.
I thought you said Pickens, but to that point, I actually think he and Matty Ice are going to link up quite a bit because I like his long, slender, big frame. I think Ice can use that because that's a la kind of what he had in Atlanta with his wide receivers. And I think like you say, Pittman should come along. He can't do any worse because we know they have a better quarterback now. But you got a great running back in Jonathan Taylor, but I just want to see that offense open up a little bit more now that they have a quarterback that they should be able to trust in this particular offense.
Yeah, remember they had the old man 2 years ago that couldn't throw the ball past 30 yards. Then they had Mr. Erratic last year, who the Commanders are relying on.
But in his defense, Big Reg, he got him into the playoffs.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Rubber on Phillip Rivers got him into the playoffs. he got it down there. So, obviously, my man Ed must think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to take a huge step this year because there's I got to hear this logic.
Is Jay Gruden gone? Is Jay Gruden out of that organization?
He would never. Yes, he is.
Okay.
Doug
you might have
Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl champion Doug Peterson, who made Carson Wentz look like an All-Pro in his rookie year.
Yeah, I still don't know why he's not the coach.
Who actually won a championship in Philly in that pressure-packed situation that he was in, and quite frankly, he should still be the head coach of Philadelphia Eagles. Let's be honest about that.
I agree.
We have the former number 1 overall pick, Golden Child, Trevor Lawrence. Although they slightly overpaid to get him some weapons. Slightly overpaid to get him some weapons. They did. Their running back situation is solid. Will soon be great once Robinson comes back off of his Achilles. But Travis Etienne, the former Clemson star, who had a Liz Frank, I believe it was a Liz Frank injury last year. He's going to be back running. I'm telling you, Chenault. They got Chenault at the other receiver. I'm telling you, Jacksonville and their defense, we all know they have young talent. They had the number 1 overall pick. He's from the Georgia kid.
Trayvon Walker.
Trayvon is there.
Plus Utah's.
You got Josh Allen menacing on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, watch Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is going to be a lot better than people give them credit for this year.
Time will tell. We'll see if they're going to mesh or not.
Yeah, that's the key. Time. I don't think this is their year. But down the road, I agree with what you're saying.
And I know this is a big and everyone in here can attest to it. They got former All-Pro Brandon Sheriff, if that's how you say his name.
Sure, yeah.
The guard from the Commanders. Yeah. So maybe he can stay healthy. We don't.
Sheriff ain't good.
He gonna give you 10 games.
Sheriff gonna give you 8 to 10 games.
Yeah. I said 10 games. 10 games.
Reg, watch what happened. Now that he out of that situation, watch this fool play an entire season and he'll go to a Pro Bowl. Watch what happens.
So we'll see, but I just think Jacksonville's going to be a lot better. And they have a professional coach again. They have a professional coach.
Yeah. And last but not least,
do we have to?
The mistake down in Texas. Houston, Texas. My only question really about this team is, was the hiring of Lovie Smith, promoting him from defensive coordinator to head coach, just a PR move? Because we all remember, it sounded like they was getting ready to hire former NFL quarterback Josh McCown, who literally had no head coaching experience just coaching experience on college or pro level, but they're going to give this guy a head coaching job.
But it was definitely a PR move. But the problem with the PR move is that David Culley, the former Raven assistant who took the head coaching job last year, did a phenomenal job. Look, he did a phenomenal job. He should still be the coach of the Houston Texans right as we speak. So again, I want to support Lovie Smith. I do. Because I think he should have never got fired from Chicago. I think he should have been.
Right.
I do think he should be an NFL head coach. He had mixed reviews down in the University of Illinois, doing that thing.
Come on, Illinois.
But David Culley,
Illinois.
I mean, they did David Culley so bad. I don't never want to see Houston win another game.
Yeah. But David Kelly knew what it was going in. He was like, I'm a work for a year, get paid for 4. He knew that going in. So he was at the end of his coaching career. So he gonna take these millions and go home and relax.
Right. That's true.
So what's sad is they actually had a very good draft, and nobody saw this kid play. But Davis Mills out of Stanford, who started 11 games last year, actually did pretty well, especially considering the situation. So, but I expect them to win no more than 4 or 5 games. Because
That'd be the 4th great year in a row.
This another franchise that need to be up for sale.
And Cleveland, buyer beware. Deshaun Watson, 4 games. There was no allegations out at the time. He won 4 games the last time he started for the Houston Texans. Buyer beware.
I
Just
sure
saying.
hope he stay away from the massage parlors up there.
That's
Woo! Well, we getting close near the end of the time. Professor, do you have time to do the takes for us?
I do.
All right, why don't you? I'm looking forward to hearing what you got for us.
All right, so I'm gonna treat you guys this week to one of the greatest players to ever play the game. We know that this is his swan song. He
Big Ben?
is ending his career this year. So we want to. What you say?
Big Ben?
I'm talking baseball, man. so we certainly want to send him out in the right way. I was glad to see him compete in the home run derby last night, even though he didn't have a real chance of getting there because he had to face Soto, and even if he got past that, I think Rodriguez would have gotten him because he was gassed himself. But none other than the great Albert Pujols. So let me give you 10 quick, great highlights of his career, and then you can ride off into the sunset. September 20th, 2003, the Buddy Walk game. Down syndrome is a cause dear to Pujols' heart, as his daughter has the condition, and Pujols always delivered on the Buddy Walk Day, a day to raise Down syndrome awareness. In this game, he hit a 13th inning walk-off homer against Houston's Dan Michelli, ending the game the Cardinals never led before that moment. July 20th, 2004, the comeback. Few people have had a better day at the plate than Pujols had on this day. Maybe not even Pujols himself. Start with the circumstances. Facing their fiercest rivals, the Cubs, the Cardinals fell behind 7-1. They roared back for an 11-8 win at the friendly confines, thanks in large part to Pujols. He went 5 for 5 with 4 runs, 5 RBIs, and 3 homers, capped by a 2-run tiebreaker off of LaTroy Hawkins in the 9th. October 17, 2005, the train tracks. If there is one signature moment of Pujols' career, this is likely it. Down to their final out of the season in Game 5 of the NL Championship Series and trailing 4-2 against lights-out closer Brad Lidge. Y'all remember him. The Cardinals scraped a couple of base runners to bring Pujols to the plate. The Astros needed just 1 out to reach their first World Series. The Minute Maid Park was deafening. They did not get that out. Pujols launched a titanic home run to the left field, landing on the train tracks well above the Crawford boxes to send the series back to St. Louis for one more game at the old Busch Stadium. Unfortunately, Houston won that game. October 21st, 2006, getting things going. Pujols' first trip to the World Series in 2004 was quick and frustrating. There was to be no disappointment the second time around. In a series where the Cards were heavy underdogs, Pujols hit a 2-run homer off Detroit superstar Justin Verlander in the 3rd inning. It was an opposite field laser beam that turned a 2-1 lead into a 4-1 lead, and St. Louis never looked back en route to his first World Series title in 24 years. October 4th, 2011, No Mercy. The 2011 World Series is remembered largely for its amazing Game 6, but some of the earlier games were not so competitive. Take Game 3 in Arlington, which may as well be known as the Pujols game. The slugger went 5 for 6 with 4 home runs, 6 RBIs, and a historic 3-homer run shot that he did. With his third long ball in the 16-7 win against the Rangers, Pujols joined Babe Ruth and Reggie Jackson as the only players in history to hit 3 homers in a World Series game. April 22nd, 2014, 500. Y'all know where this is going. With a brilliant peak, 2 rings, and MVP awards, Pujols' ticket to Cooperstown is likely already punched. But baseball loves round numbers, and there aren't many more special than 500 home runs, save for 600 home runs. He reached the milestone on April 22nd, 2014, with a monster shot to the left center off of Nationals' Taylor Jordan. I remember him. He became the 26th player to reach 500 at that time with a 2-run homer. June 3rd, 2017. This is number 600 in grand style. 500 home runs is special, but 600 is truly rarefied airfield. As Pujols became only the 9th player in MLB history to reach that milestone. Not only did he accomplish the feat at home at Angel Stadium, but he did so by walloping a grand slam. Jesus! What a way to celebrate. He was the first player to gain entry into the 600 homer club by going deep with the sacks packed. Jesus. May 4th, 2018, Mr. 3,000. It wasn't exactly Pujols' most emphatic hit, but he wasn't complaining. When he reached out and poked a pitch from Seattle's Mike Leake to reach field for a soft single, it gave him 3,000 career knocks. Not only is it that hollow mark on its own, but Pujols became only the 4th player in MLB history to combine for 600 home runs, joining Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. June 21st, 2019, right? Homecoming. Even with interleague play, Pujols' Angels did not travel to St. Louis in his first 7 seasons with the team. So when the Halos finally made it to Busch Stadium in 2019, it was a long time coming. If there once were some hard feelings on both sides regarding Pujols' departure after the 2011 season, that all went out the window. Not only did the team pay tribute to its former star, but the Cards fans showered him with ovations at every opportunity. When Pujols stepped to the plate at Busch Stadium for the first time in another uniform and embraced his good friend Yadier Molina, there were chills. Pujols even managed to beat out a rare infield single. September 13th through 18th, 2020. Catches and passes maze. Merely joining the exclusive 600 homer club wasn't enough for Pujols. He hit career homer 659 in early August, but had to wait over a month to finally tie the great Willie Mays, considered by some to be the best player in history, with a blast number 660 on a Sunday afternoon at Colorado's Coors Field. Man, oh man. This dude. So, yeah, we are witnessing the end of a living legend. Man, people got to tip their cap to Albert Pujols because not a lot of people really gave him the respect that his career deserved because he was overshadowed by cats like Barry Bonds and other people, Junior, other folks that played during his time. But man, oh man, his numbers don't lie, and he's always been a consummate professional and a winner. So give love to Albert Pujols. Back to you, fellas.
The Dominican Republic, finest, and he's actually one of the reasons why Juan Soto's playing baseball. So, shout out. All right, fellas, it is time for us to get our final post of the evening so we can get up out of here. J3, what you got for me?
So real quick, I just want to give everybody a update. I'm on day 53 of my 30-day challenge.
Awesome.
And thus far, I've lost 16 pounds and still going strong.
Hurrah!
Yeah.
I see you, partner. Good work. Good work. Ed, what you got for me?
Look, I just look. I don't know if everyone is registered to vote. I don't know if a lot of people pay attention to smaller, primaries and things of that nature. But this is election. This is voting time. This is primary day. If you haven't exercised your right, I believe you still have. I don't know what time polls close, but hopefully you got out there and you voiced your opinion, because every vote counts.
Amen.
Professor, what you got for me?
Yeah, I want to give love to Talbert Mentors and really to all mentoring organizations that are out there on the planet. Just want to remind everybody how important it is to be a mentor, to actually give back. And I'm not just talking about to youth, but be a mentor where you work, be a mentor in your community. Take somebody under your wing and share the wisdom that you've learned over your years in life. And if you're at a young age, open yourself up to being mentored, because it's so important that we share the love and the blessings that we were each given and afforded. When we talk about a village, when we talk about each one teach one, we really need to live that out. Don't live selfishly and say you've made it, but yet you're not opening up the avenue or the doors for other people. It is so important to remember that every time we cut on the television, when we see lost souls that are killing and shooting up schools and doing all the things that we wouldn't necessarily do, that's because these folks didn't have someone in their life to make sure that they stayed on that right path to doing things that would make them great. And they only see the last resort, which is to take lives and to end lives when these things don't need to happen. So this is my PSA for all those out there that are listening. Please mentor someone today.
Amen. Amen.
Great,
Amen.
great.
I hear you, Professor. On that note, I'm going to bring it back to sports, because something's happening right now that most people don't even know what's going on. For the first time ever on U.S. soil, the World Championship Track and Field Championships is going on right now in what they call Tracktown, USA, which is used to be historic Hayward Field, but now it's a brand new Hayward Field on the University of Oregon's campus. The World Championships are going on now. Please check them out. I know it's not an Olympic year, but this is the second biggest track meet other than the Olympics that happens every 4 years. You've got, on Sunday, the U.S. men took back the domination of the 100-meter sprint, sweeping all three positions, winning gold, silver, and bronze over the Jamaicans. But unfortunately, the next day, the Jamaican women swept the 100 meters in the women's. But check them out. It's on the NBC platforms, NBC Sports, their USA, CNBC, and their Peacock channel. If you want to see the greatest track and field athletes out there, they're competing right now for the first time ever on U.S. soil in Eugene, Oregon. Check them out. All right, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in.
Real quick, has the APB been answered for Sha'Carri Richardson yet?
Oh my God.
She didn't make the team.
I was being funny. Man.
Yeah.
Stop adding J3.
Yeah, Sha'Carri needs to deal with the situation, because now she's having performance anxiety. She'll win a non-big meet, but when it comes to qualifying for the team and racing in these big meets, she disappears, which is sad, because she's got mad talent. All right, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions in sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Please tune in next week for our next live show. If for some reason you can't catch our live show while it's live, you can download our shows on multiple platforms, our YouTube channel, Facebook page, We even jumped out to
Instagram.
TikTok.
we have IG, we have Twitter, but we just
TikTok.
what's our newest venture, Professor? TikTok.
TikTok.
Positions on Sports is coming to TikTok. So please check us out. And if you want to get in contact with us, hit us on Facebook, Twitter, at Positions on Sports Talk Show, or at Positions on SPL1. We'd love to hear from you. Please be safe. We greatly appreciate your time. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See ya.